Have you ever looked at two acupuncture points and thought, wait a minute, they do exactly the same thing, like kidney 3 and kidney 6 both nourish the kidneys. So how do I decide which one to use in practice? Today, I'm going to showcase 9 acupuncture points pairs that have similar functions, and a lot of people struggle to differentiate them. So let me show you how to tell them apart and how to use them in practice. We're going to use case studies in order to understand how to differentiate kidney 3 from kidney 6, for example, stomach 40 from spleen 9, liver 3 and gallbladder 34, and so many more. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, I'm Clara from AcuPro Academy, and I create Chinese medicine and acupuncture content for students and practitioners, making it easy to grasp and fun to learn. Let's start with case number 1, choosing between kidney 3 and kidney 6. We have a 52-year-old woman that come to your clinic complaining of insomnia and a very dry throat at night. She is going through menopause. She tells you that she wakes up around 2 a.m. feeling hot and thirsty. And sometimes she needs to sip water before falling back asleep because her throat is so dry. She also mentions night sweats and irritability. Her tongue is red without a coat, and the pulse is thin, slightly rapid. This is a very typical case of menopause. This is obviously an easy case, and I did it on purpose. It's a kidney yin deficiency mostly. You could see that, right? With the thin, rapid pulse, the tongue that has no coat but is red, the night sweat, the dry throat and dry mouth at night, and the fact that she sips water, that is a yin deficiency versus a yang excess. Usually people gulp water and they are really hot during the day as well, not just at night, because nighttime is yin time. Now, here's a question. How do we select point? Do we take kidney 3? Or kidney 6, because they both nourish kidney yin and tonify kidney yang, right? So often people think they are interchangeable, but they're not. In this case, we are going to choose kidney 6. Kidney 6 is the better point because it strongly nourishes kidney yin and it nourishes the fluids. It helps with dry throat and dryness symptoms, and it benefits sleeps for insomnia. Kidney 3 would still tonify the kidneys, but kidney 6 specifically addresses the dryness, the insomnia, making it more precise for this patient. Now, of course, you could use both, kidney 6, kidney 3. Because she's going through menopause, I would choose kidney 6 on the left and long 7 on the right, which is the confluent point of the Ren vessel, right? And so that is going to help balance hormone because, of course, there is hormonal issue in this case. We understand that. So long 7, kidney 6, great combo to balance the hormone. We're going to add up spleen 6 because it's one of the best points because it crosses liver, spleen, and kidney. When the woman is going through menopause, there is a kidney decline. There is also mental health being affected, which liver and spleen are both being affected in this case as well. And then spleen 6 also balance reproductive hormones. So it's a perfect point to add. Now you can add other points. I'm not going to go in detail. I just wanted to see the difference between kidney 3 and kidney 6. Now, if she had a lot of kidney qi deficiency as well, like maybe incontinence, right? Or maybe she had also edema of the lower leg, low libido, we're going towards kidney yang deficiency. Then you could add up kidney 3, you could add up Ren 4 or Do 4, you could add up a bit of Moxa. It would be a different story. But for this specifically, if we had to choose between the two, we would pick kidney 6. Kidney 3 main function is to tonify kidney yin, kidney yang, qi, and essence. It is best for chronic kidney deficiency. Kidney 6 nourishes the fluids. It is excellent for dryness, dry throat, insomnia, and it opens the yin chao vessel, which allows to calm the mind as well. So think of kidney 3 strengthen the kidneys, the TCM kidneys overall, while kidney 6 is better for yin deficiency, creating dryness and sleep issues. Now let's look at liver 3 and gallbladder 34. They both move qi. They're great to relax the body due to stress. So let's look at a case and see which one we would choose. This is a 38-year-old patient that comes in with shoulder and neck tension that worsen when stressed at work. They describe feeling tight through the shoulders, irritable, and easily frustrated, especially after long days at the computer. This person is obviously working in an office and sitting down all day at the computer. When you palpate the shoulder, the muscles and tendons around the shoulder feel very tight and restricted. This person definitely needs a tweener massage. Your diagnosis is liver qi stagnation affecting specifically the shoulder area, right? Now we ask the question, do we choose liver 3 or gallbladder 34? Why we choose gallbladder 34 is because in this case, it is the better point because it is the influential point of the tendons. It is excellent for musculoskeletal tension. Plus, the gallbladder meridian goes through the upper shoulder area. It also helps move liver qi, and specifically when it's affecting muscle and tendons. While liver 3 would help, of course, and you can put them both always if you want to reinforce your treatment. But I'm of the school of thought, the least amount of points, the better. Like I said, liver 3 would help more for liver qi stagnation to calm the emotional stress. GB34 directly treats the tendon and the muscle tension, which is the main complaint. So for this person, we can do local points like gallbladder 21 and anything to kind of release the tension in the upper shoulder. We can also add liver 3, of course, with gallbladder 34. But if we had to choose, right, we could do yin tong, we could do anything to calm the mind and address, of course, the shoulder. But I wanted to show you the difference. Another way is often during pregnancy, I love to use gallbladder 34 because a lot of women start having qi circulation issue and joints and tendon issues. So if I'm going to choose between liver 3 and GB34, I would take GB34. Now, in some countries, liver 3 is not recommended during pregnancy. So here's your option, GB34, right? In other countries, liver 3 is just fine. So depending on your regulations. So a quick recap would have liver 3 as the primary point for liver qi stagnation, of course, specifically if you combine it with large intestine 4 to open the flow, open the gates, move qi, move blood, be fantastic. It is great for emotional stress, irritability, obviously, and frustration. Gallbladder 34, on the other hand, is more for tendons, musculoskeletal issue that creates liver qi stagnation or liver qi stagnation was affecting the tendon or creating tension. So really, when we look in clinic, we can put them both specifically for this patient because he has both issues. But if we had to choose, I think gallbladder 34 would be the better point because he came for that specific chief complaint. Have you signed up to my weekly newsletter yet? This is where I share exclusive tips on TCM and acupuncture I don't share anywhere else. It's completely free. I usually give PDFs, case studies, quizzes, and give so much information. If you're not on it yet, the link is below for you. As I said, it's completely free. Don't miss out. Sign up below. Next pair I love, lung 7 and large intestine 4. They both expel pathogen. They both affect the head, right? So how do we differentiate them? Because often we could put them together, again, of course, if that's our full treatment, but sometimes we only need one. Which one would we choose? Lung 7 releases the external pathogens and tonify the lung, the wei qi, the defensive qi, right? It's also the commander point of the neck and head. So much better for neck stiffness, neck tension, but also migraine or headache affecting the entire head. While large intestine 4 also expel external pathogen, but it does not tonify wei qi or defensive qi, right? However, it moves blood, which makes it a very powerful point when there is pain anywhere in the body. But when we look at the head, large intestine 4 is the commander point of the face. So it's more when things are happening in the jaw, TMJ, tightness in the jaw, sinus issue, maybe sinus upper or lower issue, eye disorders, or a headache that is more frontal. Does that make sense? But sometimes we can combine them both, of course. Yes? Okay. So if there was someone that was not sick, but needed their immune system to be boosted, I would use lung 7 with stomach 36, for example. If someone is coming in and they are sick or they're stuffy nose and you want to open the nose and boost the immune system, then maybe you do lung 7 on one side and large intestine 4 on the other side to open the nose, open the nasal passage. And of course, you would add up large intestine 20, spleen 9 to help with the dampness. The next one is stomach 25 and stomach 37. They both address issues affecting the large intestine, like constipation, diarrhea, alternating constipation and diarrhea. Whatever is happening to the large intestine and the bowel movement, stomach 25 is the front mu point, while stomach 37 is the lower Rossi point. How do we differentiate them and how do we use them in practice? Well, stomach 25, being the front mu point of the large intestine, can be used for excess or deficiency constipation, diarrhea, any bowel movement issue due to either pattern, excess or deficiency. While stomach 37, because it's the lower Rossi point of the large intestine, it only clears issues due to excess, like damp heat or damp heat in the large intestine, but not if it's due to deficiency. Does that make sense? During pregnancy, for example, I cannot do stomach 25, right? So I have to use stomach 37. Often it is due to excess during pregnancy, and then I can add stomach 36. However, if it's due to deficiency, I'm not going to use it because it's not going to help the patient. When someone is not pregnant, on a regular basis, I love to use stomach 25 combined with REN 6 and REN 9 as the digestive diamond. But you can also add stomach 37 and stomach 36 if the problem is due to excess, let's say some damp heat in the large intestine creating diarrhea. Yes? Makes sense? Awesome. This video is sponsored by Jane, the practice management software and electronic medical record. I jumped in with Jane years ago when I went from paper, hello old school, to electronic, keeping up with the times. Running a practice, as you know, comes with a lot of moving parts, and Jane has been a game changer for me. From scheduling to charting to keeping everything organized and running smoothly behind the scene, Jane totally rocks. If you're curious to see how Jane can support you and your patients, I highly recommend you check them out here. And one last thing, if you're ready to start with Jane, you can use my code AcuPro1MO, 1 month, to get a 1 month grace period on your new account with Jane. The link and the code are in the description below. The next pair is stomach 36 and REN 12. Both are great for stomach issues. The key differences is stomach 36 tonify chi and blood. There's not many points in the body that can do this, so this is a very powerful point, as we know. It strengthens the entire body. It is the commander point of the digestive system, overall the entire digestive system, and the defense or the wei qi and the immune system. While REN 12 is the front mu point of the stomach, so it regulates the stomach organ. We would combine them quite often if there is digestive system issue affecting the stomach. But if we just have stomach issue, REN 12, of course, is local. Stomach 36 is distal. If it was acute stomach pain, stomach 34 would be a great point because it's the chi cleft point of the stomach, which relieves pain. Plus, we could do REN 12 because it's the front mu point and it's local. Now, sometimes when people are in a lot of pain, they can't have REN 12 because they don't want to be touched there. That's when you can use stomach 34, stomach 36, and of course large intestine 4 to help relieve the pain. Yes? The next pair is really hard to differentiate because they both address excess dampness. That is REN 9 and Spleen 9. So let's use a little mini case study on this one. A 45-year-old man comes to the clinic complaining of heavy feeling in his body and swelling in his legs. Especially at the end of the day, it's worse. He also says, I'm really fatigued, I have loose stools, a sensation of heaviness in all my limbs, difficulty concentrating at work. His tongue is pale with a thick, greasy coat, and the pulse is slippery and weak. Your diagnosis here is spleen qi deficiency with excess dampness. So we have excess and deficiency. We can see the spleen qi deficiency because he's fatigued, poor concentration, the pale tongue. We can see the weak pulse, right? That gives us clues. But the dampness are going to show as loose stools, which also can be from spleen qi deficiency. But the dampness is going to be heaviness in the limbs, heavy body, plus the greasy coat and the slippery pulse. Now, should we use spleen 9 or REN 9? In this case, spleen 9 is probably better because it's the Rossi point of the spleen. It strongly drains dampness through the spleen function of transporting and transforming. It treats heaviness, edema, joint swelling, any excess dampness. This is the best point. You can use it for any excess dampness anywhere in the body. The patient's main issue is dampness caused by spleen Qi deficiency. So spleen 9 really helps the body transform and drain that excess dampness. When would Ren 9 be better? If the patient had abdominal bloating or fullness, if the patient had edema in the abdominal region, difficulty in urinating, then Ren 9 would be a better point because it regulates the water passage and fluid metabolism of the abdomen specifically. So what do we want to remember here is that spleen 9 drains dampness through the entire body, while Ren 9 is more focused on the area of the belly or the digestive system, basically more on the bloating area. A lot of the graphics you're seeing today are from my book, AcuPoint Made Easy. If you don't have your copy yet, you can have the PDF version or the hard copy book that ships all over the world. I'll have the link for you below. This is one of my most popular books. If you're a visual learner, you're going to love all the graphics. And the PDF digital version comes in with many video links as well. If you don't have your copy yet, the link is below for you. We've got 2 more pairs to go. This one is one of my favorites. Pericardium 6 and Heart 7. Now, if you use the Buddha's triangle in clinic, you know we can use them together. Pericardium 6, Heart 7, and Lung 9 form the Buddha's triangle to help to calm the mind for depression, anxiety, etc. Now, we're going to talk about differentiating or the key differences between Pericardium 6 and Heart 7 if we need to choose. They both calm the mind, of course. Pericardium 6 calms the mind and regulates the chest, specifically for anxiety with palpitation or anxiety that creates nausea or vomiting or stomach issues like acid reflux or ulcers, right? Like basically stress creating anxiety, which basically affects the stomach area. While Heart 7, of course, is the best point to calm the mind, mostly for insomnia and emotional disturbances. It also helps with memory issues. So see the difference here. If there's more anxiety, you can use PC6. Specifically, it's affecting the stomach. If it's more of an insomnia problem and mind issues or memory issue, then you would use Heart 7. Bladder 40 and Bladder 60 both are distal point affecting the lower back or helping supporting lower back pain. How do we decide which one? Bladder 40 is a commander point of the lower back, including sacrum lumbar area. So it's really excellent for acute lumbar or low back pain. While Bladder 60 clears the entire bladder channel. So it is good for back pain, but back pain all the way from the neck down to the sacrum. And it can help occipital headaches. So think of Bladder 40 more for lower back focus, while Bladder 60 would be the entire back and the head or the back of the head occipital headaches. So it covers almost the entire bladder channel. Very different. You could combine them, of course, always. Last pair, but not least, they clear heat, they clear fire, they get rid of all this excess heat we have. Large intestine 11 versus stomach 44. Large intestine 11 clears heat due to excess. It could be acute or chronic, like skin condition. It could be a fever. It could be inflammation. Anything that's acute or chronic excess heat, large intestine 11, fantastic. While stomach 44 clears fire. Fire is always worse than heat. Usually with fire, there might be some bleeding, like bleeding ulcers, nosebleeds, right? Or really, really, really heavy menstruation due to excess fire. So stomach 44, not only it clears fire, but it really affects the stomach meridian more. So when there is stomach fire creating acid reflux, burning sensation in the esophagus, or bleeding gums, that is going to be a great point. Again, we can combine them. But often, if it's just excess heat, I will use more large intestine 11, while stomach fire is much more stronger. Specifically, it can also calm the mind when there's a lot of excess fire affecting the stomach and creating dreams, which creates insomnia. If you have used or learned Chinese herbal medicine, you know that a lot of herbs have similar function, and we always look at them, how can we differentiate them? It's the same for our points. We always want to pick the best point for each patient. If you haven't seen my masterclass yet on how to select point, even if you're not 100% sure of your diagnosis, I'll have the link for you below. It is one of my most popular masterclass with the TCM Diagnosis Masterclass. It's only 90 minutes, but it will really help you on how to select point when you're still struggling with TCM diagnosis, which we know is one of the hardest part of TCM. Check it out. The link is for you below. Thank you so much for your continued support. I hope this serves you and in turn your patients. And no matter what, keep rocking it using TCM.